Well, I think the biggest difference is obviously in professional football, the players are being paid to play, and so the motivation is a little bit different. Guys want to win, but they want to play well in order to earn more money. Whereas in college football, the players want to win in order to honor the university that they play for. Kind of like it was in high school. You win to get pride for your high school, and in college you win to earn pride for your institution. And so that's the biggest difference. But on the same hand, football players are football players, and they want you to coach them and help them improve as players. I think my number one is in 1998 when I was a part of Minnesota Vikings, and we finished 15-1 in the regular season. It was the third best record now that's ever existed in the NFL, and it was a great football team. We had the number one offense in the NFL and the number two defense in the NFL, and John Randall, who I coached, is going into the Hall of Fame, I think this week or next week, and so that's a great honor for me to say that I had a chance to coach him and played a part in him being considered one of the elite players to ever put on a helmet and shoulder pads. I think we had a very good spring. My first objective was for the kids to get an idea of what we wanted to do on defense and what our philosophy would be, and my vision of how I see us playing. And I think the kids came way farther along than what I expected going into spring. They really bought into what we want to do on defense. They really bought into the effort in which we have to play in order to be successful on defense, and I'm very excited to see them go to work here the next couple of days and see if we can start off where we left off in spring practice. It's been great. The people of El Paso have treated me great. It's been different for me. My family is, still in Las Vegas. My son is going to be a senior in high school, and I didn't want to move him going into his senior year, but it's been great for me, and everybody here has treated me great and welcomed me with open arms, and it's been funny. Some people, when they find out my background, they say, "Did you know what you were getting into before you took this job?" About defensively, but that's okay. And the way I look at it is, if you're at the bottom, there's no place to go but up. And I'm confident in myself and the coaches that I have working with me on defense. And more importantly, after working with these young men in the spring, I'm very confident in these young men that they're going to do everything possible to give the Miner fans something to be proud of. Adam Gonzaga is a new member of our staff, and he has a wide wealth of coaching experience, and very, very knowledgeable coach. He's a teacher. He really helps me on the back end with the secondary, and did a great job with the safeties in the spring. Alan Johnson, our corners coach, I'm very happy with him. He's very energetic. Works hard at his craft, and his players believe in him a lot. And Robert Rodriguez is going to be a great coach. He sticks to me like glue, and he asks me a ton of questions, which is a good thing. And he's young, energetic, and he wants to be good, and he cares about his players. And when you show your players you care about them, they'll run through a brick wall for you. And he's going to be a great coach. I've been close to Coach Price for a long time, and I'm sitting in front of you today for one reason and one reason only, and that's because of Mike Price and how I feel about him. When Mike called me and told me he was thinking about making the change and would I be interested, I jumped at the opportunity to have a chance to work for Mike again. And a lot of things that I brought to the table as a coach when I became a head coach were things that I stole from Mike. And a lot of things that I do as an assistant coach are things that Mike taught me to believe in as a coach when I worked for him at Weber State and Washington State. And I'm going to do everything in my power to hold up my end of the bargain on defense for Mike to have success. He's one of the top head coaches in all of college football, and he definitely should be seen and viewed that way. And we got to get the Miners back on the winning track so people realize how great of a coach they have here in El Paso. Number one, we want to play technique, sound, fundamental defense, and we want to play fast. We want to be physical, and we want to make the offense have to execute perfectly in order to beat us. In today's game, with all of the spread offenses and people spreading you across the field, it's basketball on grass. Defensively, you have to make sure that your players understand where the strengths of the defensive call you made are and where the weakness of the defensive call you made is. Because if your players understand that, if they complete a pass in an area where the coverage is weak in that area, your guys don't panic. They rally up, they make a tackle, they go, hey, that's the area that we're giving up. But when your players don't understand that and they're attacking that area, then a guy gets out of his designated area to try to make a play, and then now you give up a bigger play. And so that's what we want to do. And when the opportunity presents itself for us to make a big play, we've got to make that play. And when we want to dial it up and get after the quarterback, then we'll dial it up and get after the quarterback. But the biggest thing is that I want the guys on defense to be technicians. And when people watch us play, when fans watch us play, I want them to say they play with a lot of energy. They fly around to the ball. They're physical. And it's hard for teams to get the ball down the field in big chunks. And for us to be successful, that's what we have to do. From what I saw in the spring, I think we do have the personnel here for us to be successful this year. I would say two areas that we have to continue to improve through recruiting. We would like to continue to get a little bit bigger at the defensive tackle position over time. And we would like to develop more depth at the corner position. But linebackers and defensive ends and safeties, we are talented at those positions. We have the right size and speed that we need to have in order to be good in this defense. And I'm just going to have to use our quickness inside to our advantage. One thing that's a disadvantage is we're not very big, but the thing that's an advantage is that we're quick. And so I'm going to have to use that to our advantage and help our corners out as they gain experience. Braxton brings, first of all, leadership ability, tremendous big playmaking ability, great speed and athleticism, tracks the ball very well. He's a ball magnet, and I think Braxton has a great future in front of him. From my experience of coaching in the NFL, I think that guy could walk into 80% of the teams in the NFL and be the starting nickelback day one. And I have to find ways to use him in that capacity here to help us with the minors, and not just let him a year from now go to NFL. People say, well, why didn't UTEP use him that way? Mm-hmm. So he's a tremendous player, and I'm glad we have him back. Jamar Reed had a tremendous spring. When I first got here, watching the guys go through agility, I said, hey, this kid's a 3 technique. He's a defensive tackle. He was playing defensive end. So this kid's a 3 technique. He has the size, speed, quickness ratio that you need to be a tremendous 3 technique in this 4-3 defense. And some of the coaches, thought I was crazy when I said that, but after going through spring ball, they could see what I meant by that. And if I don't know anything, I know what a 3 technique looks like. And I think that young man's going to have a great season for us. And he just got better and better every day in the spring, and he hasn't even got close to tapping in to his full potential. I don't even think he really knows how good he can be. I can see it, but I don't think he knows it yet. Adam Ayala is a hard-working, physical, tough, ornery guy, and he's going to play a lot for us. And there's a lot of great football down the road for that young man. Trayvon had a tremendous spring for us. he's a ball magnet. He's got some Braxton Amy in him. He has the ability to make the big play. When the ball is in the air, going to a receiver, it's like he feels like the quarterback is throwing the ball to him. And I was very pleased with the amount of progress that Trayvon made through the spring, and he's really done a great job in dropping his weight. He got here at about 205 pounds, which is big for a corner, and now he's down to 185 pounds. And I'm expecting big things from Trayvon. DeAndre Little, the middle linebacker, was a great player on tape. He's a big kid that can run. And he may be able to give us some depth, at linebacker. And I'm looking forward to seeing him. And Tron Robinson, the corner, tremendous speed, 10-4, 10-300 meters, great quickness. And so looking forward to see what he could do too, once we start here the next couple days. The first couple days I just want to get guys back into the groove again. Start off like we did in the spring and put in our base front and our base coverage and just getting the guys used to executing the technique and the fundamentals of our base defense and our base coverages, and getting guys back in the groove again. And then once we get to Socorro, then really start to implement putting in all of our packages to get us ready for our first football game. For a team, I want to win Conference USA. And, I know that may sound lofty after what has happened here, but, why play if you don't reach to be the best? And that's the way I see it. That's the reason why you play. You play because you want to be the best. And that's my attitude, and that's the attitude that I'm going to have with the players, that we're going out there every Saturday to win that game. And when you tally up all the wins at the end of the season, that we're the best team in Conference USA. And on those lines, it's the same thing defensively. My goal is for us to be the best defense in Conference USA. And, I tell the players that you have an end of the season goal, but you focus on what you have to do right now at this moment. So there's no game more important on our whole schedule than Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's the most important game of the season. And then when that one's over, however it turns out, then the most important game becomes Houston. And, and I learned that from coaching the NFL. You play 16 games, and there's no getting your schedule early in that league. And this is a win, this is a loss, this is a win, this is a loss. You can't figure that out. And you just go week to week and try to win that game. And I think that's the best mindset to go about it, is you don't worry about the outcome at the end of the season until the season's finished. All you worry and focus on is that opponent that you have that week. And you put everything you have into beating that opponent. And then when it's all said and done, then it carries over to the next opponent.